and welcome to the Blue House Bull Session. Happy Wednesday to you. We are happy to be here. I am joined as always by my BFF and co-host, Uber Fuzzy. Man, let me tell you about computers. Y'all hear about this clown strike thing? You know, because
That was duck strike.
it had to come fix everything. Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike?
Yeah, apparently everything just broke all at once. A piece of anti-malware pushed a faulty update that threw everything into a reboot loop, and people had to physically be at machines to fix stuff, which is definitely no good because everyone's working remote now. It was a mess. It was absolutely a mess.
Yes.
I will say my day job, I did not get bit by it. That it's not the anti-malware service provider we use. It was only smaller things like the government and every airline and all kinds of hospitals and stuff like that went absolutely bug shit. So, hi, thank you.
It was an intersection of large-scale corporate and also people who run important infrastructure on Windows machines.
Yeah. And that's one thing I noticed that came up in conversation is a lot of people are blaming Microsoft.
One, yes, it did fire again. And also, you're not entirely wrong. It wasn't Microsoft's intent, but they were changing something in their operating system that they're allowed to do that CrowdStrike was taking advantage of, and it made that one module no longer be able to do that, and that it failed in a catastrophic way.
From reading
Yes,
Go ahead.
it was a thing. Microsoft at the same time that update changed something with the way named pipes work, IPC named pipes and stuff, and that one module that had just got deployed was using that, and it caused it failed in a bad way that took down the operating system, and that's what caused it the crash, the first crash to happen, and then it was in an incomplete startup state.
Based on what I've read, it would go the other direction. It is that the named pipes functionality did not change in a way that impacted the use that is permitted. And
Yes.
the change that was made caused a null reference to exist in the driver, which did not get caught in testing. And it was not Confluent updates. It was that their testing procedure, per their statement, passed it anyway. And they said, okay, we've seen strange results, we'll just ship it. They did say in their most recent post, we saw an inconsistent result, but we had seen that before, so we shipped it anyway.
There's so many things wrong with that statement.
Right?
Like, you can do that for a lot of pieces of software. A lot of software.
You can't do that for anything that's got Ring 0 access. Period.
You can't do that at even if they didn't have Ring 0, just at the scale that they exist at.
Yeah.
Like, any software anywhere should have, at most, you wrap your own software in one big try-catch block, so if something does happen, it doesn't bleed up. You know?
Yeah.
Just period. Yeah. Like, this... This is, for anybody who doesn't know, who didn't really get into computers till recently, this is the level of stuff that old computers, like Windows 95, Windows 98, 2000s. This is how everything was. Everything just ran at absolute permissions all the time, and any tiny little thing would just crash the whole operating system because there was no operating system and protection and thing. It was everything was just running in raw bare computer. And it would just that's why all the jokes like, oh, it just blue screen, you
Yeah.
clicked your mouse or a driver, like it's because everything was like that. Cloud Strike runs at such a low level to catch, you catch low level criminals. Basically, you have to be low level.
Yeah. Um, and that's one of the reasons CrowdStrike is so trusted is thanks to George Kurtz, the CEO, who you may know from his time at McAfee, where the same fucking thing happened. Uh, so a lot of people are talking about his cost-cutting measures, in the like we were talking about last week in this world of number go up to the right. Um,
Yeah,
part of the I don't want to say laxness, but at the same time, I really do, so I'm going to. Part of the laxness of their testing comes from the fact that their remaining tester.
yeah.
Yeah. Once again, Apple users are left feeling smugly superior because they were not impacted. Linux users have known this all along, but they're much more quiet about that. They just tell you about the benefits of freedom. And Southwest Airlines booked record flights because they could still do so.
Yeah.
Child, you got to get down, baby.
And it was them, like only recently, that were catching public gruff because their systems went down last year and they couldn't get them up quick enough because somebody didn't know where the one magic floppy to boot their main computer off of.
Yeah. It was.
And this happened, and like, oh, maybe.
Now I see why. Now I see why we're using that system. We lived through this.
I have used Falcon and CloudStrike. We had it on our corporate machines at the Red Company, and it was a pain in the butt because it was basically a kernel level package of, it's got to be there and verify everything was installed correctly, and
Yeah.
they can verify it and stuff. And it's like, I get it for what it does and for the amount of money it does. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon, their product that does this. Falcon, a product of CloudStrike, or CloudStrike, the makers of Falcon, is not cheap.
No.
And by not cheap, I mean it is a humongous amount of money.
Yeah.
Addition at any scale, but the people, it did multiplied by the fact that the people at the scale of IT and number of computers that tend to use it are like a company of tens of thousands or hospitals of an uncountable number of machines. That's the level. So it's expensive times some orders of magnitude.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it's $20 a head, but we've got 10,000 machines. Like, no, it is. We're talking numbers with multiple commas
Yeah.
is where it starts.
To offer compensation for their outages, though, have you heard about this one? They're sending out $10 Grubhub gift cards.
I'd rather they didn't.
Yeah. I given the size of the outage, the amount of effort it took for each customer to resolve it, and the speed at which they had to do so, makes it almost insulting that they would offer that, because it shows how little value they place on whether or not they work right. It sends the wrong message to me.
Well, it's like, oh, hey, we'll throw you a pizza party level of just don't.
Yeah. This is your way of telling me just how little I'm appreciated and just how much it matters. You are putting a figure on how insignificant I am. It's better if you keep your mouth shut at that point.
You say?
But
Okay.
that's why I'm not in charge of things like this. It's terrible. It's terrible, but it's provided a lot of really interesting reading and a lot of really interesting discussion this week. I can definitely say that much. The news has been all aflutter about it.
It the one silver lining that did come out of it is it was a big wake up call to just how exactly perfectly just in time the entire airline system is, how delicate and very fragile and prone to breakage the entire swaths of every industry, mainly the airlines, but also a lot of other places. Just like, oh, one small thing could break us, and we do not have a disaster recovery plan.
Yeah, our disaster recovery plan is scream real loud.
You know, it. I always used to pitch anytime I would be evaluating a service, like, oh, we're gonna switch over to this provider, and I'm like, what happens if they go down? How do we deploy our site? If that thing we're using is not down, what is our way to put a message on the site that says our shit's broken? We know we are working on it.
Yeah.
How quick? It's like well, push come to shove, we could manually go into GCS, find the index.html and hand edit it. You know, absolute worst case, we could just edit and put new bytes directly in the bucket of that one last build.
Yeah.
If GitHub went down, we could change the files that were last deployed. They'd get overwritten as soon as we did it, but that's okay. But in worst case, we have a way to do that. And it's like, oh, but that would never happen. And I'm like, do I need to bring up the status page and show you how many times Angry Unicorns happened with their deploy process? It's like, you can put your eggs in one basket. What do you do when that basket is not available?
Right. It's you. No solution can be completely bulletproof. That is a physical impossibility. That said, every effort you can make to add it's the Swiss cheese model. Every
Oh yeah,
backup plan you have, every time you plan for one more contingency, it's one more contingency you're ready for if it ever does happen. If it never does, fantastic. You invested the time in case it did. It is not a waste. You did not burn that time. It is a good use of that time. But you have to plan for those over the scale of a long enough time. They are not possibilities, they are eventualities.
yeah.
So
And it all goes back to, at the depth CloudStrike was in, and the number of important pies and hospital machines and airlines, you cannot have any any doubt of, will my stuff break?
right,
Period.
right.
Not even like, there's like a 1 in a million chance. Like, it's like, no. The correct answer is zero. Zero is the correct amount. Like, well, how much pain normally? 2 to 3. It's like, but that's my baseline. It's like, no, zero is the baseline. 0% chance your stuff could cause a problem like this.
Yeah. That is how it should function. But
They heard our
again,
message.
uh-oh.
There's a temporarily turn this off button on that performance issues thing
Yes.
now.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They absolutely did.
I opened a user voice like, hey, can you at least tell me what performance issues?
Yeah. It is under very active development, and I want to say thank you to all of our friends at Twitch once again for that, because this is a fantastic tool.
Hmm.
I am very excited to continue to use it, especially in a couple weeks where I will be testing it outside my normal environment. I did
And then
check.
you're gonna find out it works better.
I
You're
did
gonna find
check.
out it works
Yeah,
better.
it's gonna work gangbusters on my laptop. Zero issues. I'll have to switch machines just for the podcast. Um, I did check the tentative schedule, and we are still good for that. By the way.
Well, I was gonna tell you, we could always move it like another like
Yeah, if
Tuesday or Thursday or something. It doesn't have to be Wednesday if you wanted to like absolutely keep the streak, you know.
if we do anything weird, make sure you're in our Discord to keep track of what's going on. If you're a fan of the Blue House Bull Session, the reason I bring that up is coming up from hey, the thing's up in the corner at that corner. Oh, it went away. August 13th through 19th is Zeldathon 1986, which I will be attending. And the Wednesday, which is the 21st, 4, 7, 2, 8, 9, 15th? 15th. August 15th. August 15th. Yes.
In the middle of that,
Will be a Wednesday, and we will still be doing the Blue House Bull Session in one form or another. If anything weird goes on, we will make sure to post it in the Discord so you know when and where to catch us. But I will be coming to you live from Zeldathon, and we will be talking about what's going on there, and I don't know, probably whatever the next big news item is. If I'm lucky, I'll see if I can rope some special guests into coming by to say hi. Some familiar faces and some new to you guys.
do you want to potentially borrow my Yeti? Because it does have the like shared room double-sided mode,
No, because
double cardioid.
I'm going to take my AT2020.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a USB mic because I won't have to go through the mixer for everything on the laptop.
Yes, but this has got literally designed to put between two people talking and do.
So is the 2020. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. I checked. No, I am pretty set on decent equipment for that. The only reason I don't use the 2020 here is because I want to go through the mixer, and the whole reason it's a whole setup. It's a process. It's an event. It's a movement. It's electric. Speaking of which, Zeldathon 1986, one of the things we will be doing is a 1980s concert. What are your favorite 80s songs? What is it that you want to hear? Don't worry, we're going to do that one Rick Astley song, I promise.
To the internet.
Frantically Googling top hits of the 1980s.
No, I'm just checking what year.
Oh, yeah, we could do Whip It. Whip It Good. Or Girl You Want, the one they remixed for Tank Girl. She's just a girl. She's just a girl. Girl you want.
Any number of the hits from Tiffany. Those are always nice and popular in the 80s.
Like that cover of I Think We're Alone Now? Yeah.
Yeah. That was on the Tiffany album by Tiffany in 1980, recorded in 1986. So, yeah, that's
Yes, and that's the version Weird Al parodied for I Think I'm a Clone Now.
Yeah. Top hits 1980s. Let's see. Best songs in the 1980s. What's at the top of the list there? No, go to. No, Rolling Stone. I'm not going to allow ads.
Nope. I don't want to see them. If you can get them out of my way, we'll talk. If they're sitting off to the side and they're not loud and obtrusive, if they don't take away from the content, we can talk.
Yeah.
The minute I get a pop-up notification, if you tell me to download your mobile app, I'll go read my article somewhere else. I don't want your app. That's why the web exists.
Well, for very small numbers of things that
There, I will grant you, I do understand there are cases where I can see it. But they are few and far between. And that is when there is some functionality that it is better to have natively than in the web. If you're just presenting me content, I don't want your app.
they're saying, according to Forbes, the number one top song was Purple Rain.
Yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
Purple Rain, Thriller, and Africa. There you go.
I know at least 3 of those songs.
You have performed at least 4 of those songs.
Yeah, I absolutely have. I don't know if I've done Purple Rain on the stream. I know I used to do it at karaoke. I don't think I've done Purple Rain on stream. I should. Africa, I have. You know.
So does it have to be things after 1986?
No, we are just sticking with the 80s
or
in
things
general.
Before?
We are just sticking with the 80s.
The 80s?
Even though most of the
1980s?
80s actually took place in the 90s. Yes, 1980s. I checked.
Oh, wow. These are all...
That joke may actually be why the event is Zeldathon 1986 and not Zeldathon 86. I'm just putting it out there.
Zeldathon apostrophe 86. And
that may have been a discussion that happened. I'm just
did you
hypothetically
immediately say which one?
House.
And everybody's like
1980s.
1986. Yeah.
What is love but a secondhand emotion? We could absolutely do that one. Oh, we could absolutely do that one. I'm going to take all these suggestions and put a little bug in Danny's ear that says, hey, we have more.
You got to find one of those mixes. It's like instrumental versions of all the best, like the top 80s hits, and just have it playing as bumper music. Just have it as
you should
just instrumental versions, but have it just playing in the background the entire time and see and man, this sounds familiar. Just play it like 80% of the normal speed, and people are like, I know these notes, but my brain cannot pattern match what it is.
The one thing I'm going to miss, speaking of things like that, about doing a winter event, is that the hotel on Saturn had the worst Christmas playlist of bronze medal runner-up Christmas songs and the most
sucks.
obscure covers. And after, a week of it, it grows on you. You hate it, but it sticks in your head. You're listening to the Jingle Bell Samba in your head for the next several months.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Wait till you see some of the bumpers we do have cooking. I'm not going to leak anything for real. I'm not going to leak anything. Wait till you see some of the bumpers we've got cooking now. It's awesome.
You know, you ought to tell the Zeldathon team. I know you know some of those people over there. They ought to take one of their Twitch emote slots and make a Zeldathon leak emote and have everybody subscribe to the channel just to get it every time
Like
you and
like
Jiggy and everybody else is.
like the leak spin leak, Zeldathon leak, but it's also a leak.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Let me talk to Dark. I gotta message Dark, and I gotta message Eric, and I gotta message Stone, and I gotta talk to everybody about everything because
Just a
everything's
leak
on
and it's
fire.
spinning and it's leak spin and people are like,
Yes,
huh?
we
What? It's
need
like,
we
what's it?
need
And
we need Finn with a leak, 100%. Like that is exactly what we need. I think that would rapidly become my most used emote.
see, I have the ideas. I have been known for that.
Indeed. So, what were you working on today? I was kind of half tuned in because I was working, but I caught you programming earlier. What's your new big project? What you been beating on?
I was playing that puzzle game yesterday,
Yeah.
and that doors game, and one of them. Hold on, I gotta close this tab. It's like the ads are going rampant. Um, that's the other thing is if you could serve me ads and have control over the ad inventory that played, and it wasn't like six different video things all just cranking up my CPU and making
Yeah.
that tab use 80% of my goddamn computer with its 20 cores and its multiple gigawatts, and it's like, oh, I turned on ads and no, no. Um, one of the games on there was one of those lights out puzzles. The tap the grid and it flips it and on off thing. And I have the original Lights Out by Tiger Electronics. It was my one of my favorite toys as a young prepubescent child because I was a nerd. And it occurred to me while I was doing like, oh, I look like, oh, it's Lights Out puzzles, and I did it real quickly because I know how to do those. I know it's like
You've had a lot of
it's like people
practice,
do
yeah.
the it's like people do the Rubik's cube. Oh, I have a piece there and I need it there. I know I can go
I know
this,
the
this,
pattern
this,
to,
this,
yeah.
and it'll be on top. Same with the Lights Out. You see certain fragments of patterns in like, you know, Conroy's Game of Life. Like, oh, I know how to do that, and it popped into my head like, oh, I should write a Lights Out thing. It's real easy to do. I haven't written one. I should just like make one for no good reason, just as like a typing exercise. They're that easy to do,
Yeah.
you know.
I dig it. I
And
dig it.
I just had that idea. Just I had like an earworm. It's like, oh, I got to go find that song and listen to it completely so it'll go away. I had to sit down and write it. And I knew, like, oh, it's real easy. It's a game board and it's a couple, and it's a grid and a setter and a thing and a couple, just it's an array of an array.
Yeah.
Flips them on and off. And if it's on, make it glow. That's it.
I did something like that the other day. There's a new repo in our private collection for Hergel where I did not write a whole game, but I wanted to figure out how a mechanic worked, and I wrote my idea seed up next to it so that we can decide if it's something we want to pursue any further. But I stopped. I stopped. I did not just keep going on it. I made something and I stopped when I got to the point where it's like, yep, this shows that it could happen. Here are the ideas I have so far. Let's go through and figure out if we want to evolve it any further. See, I'm getting there.
The other
I'm
thing,
getting there.
the other thing was I was reading an article that popped up in my news feed about some new feature in React or something that they fixed a thing that lets you store a thing inside another thing so you don't have to do it like a weird workaround with like, oh, we fixed it. You can actually store this type of thing in this thing. And I'm like, oh, that means all the game the kind of like dumb little web game stuff like that. Oh, I can just stash it in this, and I have to pass
Yeah.
it down and pass it down. I can just set effectively a big global variable, and anything underneath it needs it can get to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other thing I was working on after that, was play with WebSockets and ways to rewrite some of the stuff I already have. Some of it we can use in Hurgle. Some of it was just for my dumb streaming effect stuff and stuff like that.
I dig it. I
Just
dig it.
playing around.
I dig it.
I realize I mentioned to somebody, it's like I had mentioned to somebody, they asked to see my resume and like, oh, you list, oh, you're a Twitch streamer. Like, yeah, but like I do it a lot enough where they sort of pay me once in a while.
Right.
It's like, what do you stream? Like they're expecting like Counter Strike for like, no, I stream like the MMOs I'm already playing or Puzzle Gate, like deep like 3D puzzle games or development stuff. And then I realized, oh, I actually haven't done development stuff on there like quite a while because some of the stuff I've been working on I can't stream or just lots of authentication tokens and stuff. It's like
Right.
I don't want to risk any of these being on there. So, and then a lot of it recently has just been very tediously reviewing PRs for all you guys, and it's like that's boring to do, let alone to watch, because it's me just scrolling. Yep,
See,
yep.
I don't know. I think that
Yeah.
would be
There's no better way to.
that would be a good thing to do as a team. If we do PR reviews as streams occasionally, because that way you've got the person who originally made the thing there to answer your impending questions. That could be kind of
Yes, but
cool.
they should be on mute first.
Yes.
Everybody who else is reviewing that's not the author should be allowed to talk, and they should have to listen. Let
Yes.
us get our piece out, and then have them come in.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Because otherwise, it turns into a conversation. They're like they're defending line by line. It's like they make their treat it like not Dragon's Den. What the hell is it called here? The thing where you ask for money for
Shark
crap you're
Tank.
making. Shark Tank. Basically, treat PR reviews like Shark Tank. You come in like, look, here is my that's what the text part in your pull request is supposed to be. Here is what I'm offering. Here is the thing I'm fixing and what it does. Please review this,
Yeah.
evaluate it, and make your decision. That's how pull request review should go.
Right.
Is everybody should tear it apart, and then you get a chance to defend it. But like anything you need to say should be in the top of that pull request and says what they have to say, because it should be able to happen without you.
Right. Right. I like that though. Like I think that would be a good way to present it, and not immediate. Like you said, you go through, you finish your review, and then the developer gets their chance to make their fixes and or offer their rebuttals.
Well, it's also, there is a lot of benefit to having some live interaction
Right.
as part of the review process.
Yeah.
Like, let me do my review in quiet at 4 a.m, where I can just sit down and go through it. And then we should, like, I'll put in my notes, and then we can have a conversation going over those notes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yes, like, oh yeah, I missed that. Yeah, I'll go fix it. And that's fine. But if there's something that like needs to be explained, a lot of times it's like, can you tell me why you did it this way?
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't need you to write a small short story in that reply box on that comment box and try to fit stuff in where you can't put pictures and you can't explain yourself. You don't have to explain it. You can explain it in voice in like 3 minutes and some hand gestures and like, cool. And I'll mark it as resolved. As long as you can explain it. If you had a reason, and that's your education to next time, explain why you did this.
Yeah. I get it.
Because sometimes you have to write code that is
that
not pretty or
looks,
is not optimal,
yeah,
but there are extenuating circumstances that you don't want to leave permanent record of in the code in comments, or you did not want to write down, or they're just complex to explain, or they're sensitive topics or stuff like, please see me.
yeah,
Yes, I know this is funky. Yes, it works. It will not blow up. See me and I can explain to human, I can explain why.
right,
I am bad about that. I write a lot of code like that, and it's like I've had to justify what I did to another human, and as soon as I explain it, they're like, "Oh, but what about?" I'm like, no, I tried that already. It doesn't work. But what about? No, I tried that. That also doesn't work. And we went round and around, and after a while, they learn when I say there was no better way to do this. This was the best option. This horrible kludge of a code was the option. They take me at my word that no, I tried the other things. I did not go for the bad code to start.
yeah.
This is what was the thing that I decided to submit. So
I don't know. This is another idea to workshop, though. 1,000,000% is some sort of code review, interactive, live, Hurgle, etc.
yeah,
Because I see it being really cool. I see it being really cool. I could be wrong. It's happened once before.
I would posit it would be better to record a Discord call or something
Yeah,
and not stream it.
yeah.
Go through in case something leaks, or you can black out a screen or whatever,
But put
or
together some edited version of it that we can share with people.
well, just so you don't accidentally leak, like, oh, I clicked on
Yeah.
the wrong file with all the information in. It's
Oops,
like, oh,
all our
we
keys are open. It's time to cycle them. Yeah.
yeah, we make a note of, you know, showing things we shouldn't, and just black out a couple spots.
Plus, I need to hook up my iPad so I can use it like a whiteboard, like Thor does.
You mean MS Paint and his mouse?
Yes, he can't possibly be that good with a mouse. That's a lie. He probably
Yes,
is.
that no, that's entirely just that's him using a mouse. He's just done it long enough. He got that good at it.
Well,
He was actually on Drop Frames with JP and Co Carnage and them the other day, and
oh,
they
nice.
asked him about that. They asked him about that. He's like, "Oh, I used to have to do presentations for people whose eyes who were not technical people at Blizzard, and he found that if he had slides of any sort, they would pay attention to those, and sometimes he had explained things that he didn't have slides for, so he would open up the drawing tool in whatever slide presentation thing and draw a slide live, and
Yeah.
people were very engaged with that, so he just did that forever after.
I have to keep that in mind. Steal
Yeah.
his bit. That's clearly what we need to do. I just happen to have an iPad that I could likely use for something like that. That's why I even bother bringing it up.
I'm surprised there's not a better way in like there, there's got to be a plugin in OBS, like some way to John Madden draw live on top of everything else in OBS to like annotate like a virtual whiteboard layer on top of your stream.
See, the way that would work, okay, now we're getting into dangerous territory here. I'm going to warn you up front. You set up OBS to. I understand a plugin in OBS is what you're referring to. A way we could do this that is not that, however, is use the OBS virtual camera and export it to another application and have the drawing surface in there.
Okay.
And then capture that as you're seeing when you have it on. You're basically turning on a layer that acts like a piece of glass you can whiteboard on.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, like, without having to have another, like, how much could you distill MS Paint down into a bare. I think the one Theo uses is like Excalibur or something. Um, just the bare minimum, like paint from a 1980s Mac minimum,
Yeah.
and have that universally available to everyone, easily self-contained, without having to have a virtual camera and all the resources with that, going to another program and capturing that just to add a layer you can draw on.
I get what you're saying. If you were to write it as an OBS plugin, whether or not you have virtual camera enabled, you should have access to the scene. If
Oh
you
yeah.
have access to the scene, it's a pop out window in the plugin or something. Maybe you could just replace your scene view with it. I don't know how that works. And then have a here is your pen. You can make it thin, medium, or thick. You can pick these 8 colors and you draw directly on the scene. Here's the clear button.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
The minimal markup tools that were in the Windows 10 snipping tool.
Yeah.
Here is a pen, here is a highlighter, here is the most rudimentary draw a box around a thing tool. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Like that. Just in case I need to draw something on the screen to reference a thing that I can't, like my cursor isn't pointing at or something, or
Yeah.
keep an eye over here, or,
I don't know. There are a couple ways to do that. Now I got to look up OBS plugins, and oh crap, now I have a new project. Boy, that was fast. I just abandoned a new project to the wilds. Well, not abandoned. I just dumped one in the pile for us to sort through later. How about that?
Speaking of that pile and a big thing underneath it,
Yes.
you gonna plug Cafe some more?
Cafe what?
Let's Cafe?
Let's Cafe? What the heck is that? Yeah, I guess I probably should, huh? Considering we
Yeah.
are going to try and have the launch party for it next week, huh? Yeah, by the way, next week for the podcast, we will be having a very informal launch party because theoretically on August 1st, we should be launching live on Steam. We've been submitted for initial review. We have some changes to make before the final review. The website will be updated, all of that. You guys have wish listed it already, right? You've already gone and found Let's Cafe on Steam and added it to your wish list? I certainly hope so. I don't know if I have a command or not. I accidentally appointed Fuzzy as my bot guy, and I forget to ask for the things I need. Jacob says he's already playing it. Hopefully he's going to be there with us next week, right? You're going to be there next week. You're going to be there next week. That's a statement. You're going to be there next week. You're already talking with the other people about the other thing too, so you know. But yeah, next week we are going to have our launch event for Let's Cafe. We're going to talk about it. We're going to play it. We're going to bring on as many people as we can that have been involved with it or had a chance to try it. We'll tell you some of the processes that went into making parts of it. We'll talk about the art. We'll talk about the writing. We'll talk about the music. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
The rest of the roadmap and the stuff that we had to punt to get it out the door, because otherwise art is never done and we would just keep working on it forever. And we are going to keep working on it forever until all those things are done. It's just not all those things had to be at launch.
Yeah, that is very true. And we have many, many, many plans for bringing a whole lot more content to it as well, because I love the premise and I love the fact that we set it up in a way where we can go in and add fun, cool, new things for people over time so that you get more game for your money.
It's, believe it or not, it's actually the biggest reason we chose this one to put out on Steam is entirely because of the updating process.
Yeah.
We can just add some new stuff to it, rebuild it, and kick it up to Steam and let them deal with updating it. where it's not like, hey, there's a new version, go back to itch and go install that version, or try to do with however that thing. It's like, no, Steam is good at delivering bits from one place to you,
Yeah.
or
You
one
get
place to
version
thousands of
now.
people at the same time. Yeah, just period. Like that's why I buy things on Steam, is they have their shit together and they know how to give me an update. I do
Man.
not know why. I it's the one thing I'm envious of the people who play 14 on via Steam,
Yeah.
is they have a different launcher and it uses the Steam network. They have horrible payment problems because they're using the Steam network, but at the same time, they know how to update things.
Yeah.
Every MMO should get together and be like, hey, Steam, can we just license your backend to distribute these files? You have a better CDN than anybody on the entire planet.
That's something. We're at 6:50. We got 10 minutes until we take a break. I don't want to get into it yet, but we need to talk about the Steam lawsuit. Okay, fine. We'll get into it now. The Steam monopoly lawsuit that's going on right now.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry they do it too well and you don't want to put in the effort. And the lawsuit is because they're complaining that you can't sell Steam keys cheaper outside of Steam. It's, right? That makes sense that you can't do that. That, to me, sounds absolutely perfect. If you're going to use our network.
No, it's not just that. In one of the clauses, you are allowed to sell your game on another platform, but you cannot sell it cheaper than Steam somewhere else. If you wanted to sell your new Fart Hotel 6 for $20 on Steam, you cannot go over to Itch and sell it for $15. If you want to sell it $15, you have to drop the price on Steam. There's a clause in there, you cannot sell the same things cheaper. You can sell it the same price.
I have to verify this, but I'm pretty sure that the actual terms of service currently say that that's only for keys. At one point in time, they pushed back on you selling it at all for a lower price elsewhere.
No,
but they changed it to
the game
keys
entirely. No, I'm pretty sure it's still the game in general.
We will have to verify that, but in any case, yeah. I would understand a little bit better if that is the case. But that was not how I had read the terms. It is for all? Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't like it, but
it's why some people just don't. They're going to be on Steam. Generally, it's easier to just be on Steam.
Yeah.
It's like maybe you want to have it somewhere else for people who can't or don't want to buy things through Steam, but at the same time, you go where the people are.
The thing is, that's where the big complaint is people are jumping up and down and waving their arms and yelling, and it's a very small minority of people, but they're very vocal. They're yelling monopoly. They're saying that term carries with it the direct implication that there can be no competition. It is not that there isn't, it's that the market is structured in a way such that there cannot be.
I'm looking at my desktop and I see 5 different launchers right there that tell me otherwise.
Exactly. So I would say that lawsuit does not have as much merit as they think it does.
And I'm not just saying this to parrot Thor, but he brought up very good points. At least Steam gives you your money's worth for their 30%.
Yeah.
Unlike Apple.
Unlike every other service out there that I've worked with.
You get a lot of services for that cut.
You do, and very vital and valuable ones. Some of them you have to know to go ask for, but they're there.
Yes. Yes.
I'm paying significant amounts of money to Google for stuff that I do not have a support path for. The support path is go read the forums.
Yeah.
Steam will hold your hand through every step of the process. You can reach out and ask a question, and they will answer it for you.
Mm-hmm. Because they want you on that platform.
And everybody's mad because people like to release things on Steam. It's like, well, then do it better. Do
Yeah.
it better. You have the option. Itch is not as big yet and is targeting a very specific market, which is specifically the independent developer. But Itch is a fantastic example
Oh
of good
yeah, yeah, yeah.
competition to Steam. And it's better suited for the small independent developers. 100 times over.
Itch is better for discovery and browsing around and
Yeah.
finding new things. But if you want to go get the biggest new headline game that you know already exists and you're just trying to find it, it's hard to discover things on Steam. How many different versions of the Steam discovery queue have they gone through?
Yeah.
You know, or just in general browsing around, they're still reinventing their category stuff constantly. But if you know the name of the game and you search for it, you pretty well find it. And
Yeah.
once you find it, buying it is relatively easy. The page looks like it's still out of 1980s, but you know what? It works. It's hard to take down Steam.
That is true. That is very, very true. That is unbearably true. Anyway, I love both those platforms. And then there's
Oh
also
yeah.
the Epic Games launcher. I don't like that, but that's just me.
That's another one that program needs some love. That actual the launcher, the Epic launcher, really needs some like somebody that actually uses it to go in and design it better
The
because it is very we pasted some queries into some grids and
the
put a buy button on them.
problem in giant air quotes, and this is going back to that late stage capitalism rant that I can't get away from, is that you will never be able to convince any C-level employee that a launcher makes money because it's not a line item. It's not something they sell. Nobody buys the launcher, and they don't want to invest into something that doesn't make money.
But see,
I know
the
it and
thing
you know
is
it.
it does.
I know it and you know
It
it.
does.
No, nobody pays for the launcher. From that executive logic, nobody pays for the launcher. And people are still using it and buying games.
I have never. How many things are in my library? Let's see. There's no. There's no way to tell. Oh, I have 95 things in my Epic library. Do you know how much I've spent on the Epic Store?
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing. All
Every
free,
single one of
all
those has been
promotional.
their free game of the week.
Yeah.
That's it. And then like one or two that through Amazon.
I think that's where I got Untitled Goose Game because I got it before it came out on Steam. And I regret it because I'm interested in playing it, but I don't want to reinstall the Epic launcher on my new computer to play it. And I also don't want to buy it again. I kind of do want to buy it again, but I don't want to buy it again.
Oh, you know what? If you had it on, I was going to tell you they have an Arcade Paradise is on there right now for free until tomorrow.
Well, shit. I guess I'm going to have to go download and reinstall it and pick it up so I can play Goose Game again and also Arcade Paradise. I'm going to make my own arcade paradise. With match 3 and Sudoku. It's the
No.
Hergel Studios
if you-
Blackjack and Hookers, yeah.
If you have match 3 in Sudoku, you can't win.
No. If I had match 3 Sudoku, I couldn't win. If I had match 3 and Sudoku, I still could.
Oh.
Also,
Well, if you have Sudoku in your match 3, you're definitely not winning.
look, I have a repo that says otherwise.
I just find it funny that your two big things that you make games out of are things where you have to put adjacent things together, and the other one is things where you cannot put adjacent things together.
There's a project I have most of the way developed sitting somewhere out there. I will show you. And then you will say, "Oh God, he did." And "Oh God, I did."
When are we gonna make Do Not Drop a Banana?
October.
Okay.
Let me make it through Zeldathon. Let me see what's coming up in September. Let me see what's coming up when. I know I have all sorts of events.
Go run your bathroom break.
Yeah, it is about 7 o'clock. We're going to go make a bathroom break. We're going to run some ads real quick. I'm going to freshen up the drinks and inhale the sandwich in one big bite. Don't you go you can go somewhere as long as you come back. Go stretch. Go freshen up your own water. Go take care of yourself. And we will see you guys in about 5. Welcome back to the Blue House Bull session. Hope you got up. Hope you got yourself a stretch. Hope you got yourself something to drink. All those other things. Take care of yourself. You know, your body is a machine. If you do not find time to maintain it, it will make time. Joined once again, as always, by my best friend forever and co-host, Uber Fuzzy. My man, my man.
That's me.
Are you excited for next week? Are you excited for the Let's Cafe launch party?
No.
Not even a little bit? You're just burned out? You're ready for it to go away?
No, absolutely not. I'm glad we have such a diverse team of people with energy levels and enjoyment that we're able to pick it up as you got overwhelmed and I got busy with other things. and we could get it to this goalpost. I am absolutely terrified of all the problems we haven't seen yet.
I understand that. I genuinely
And
understand that.
how quickly we will have to rebuild and kick back and push out updates and stuff very quickly, or
Yeah.
and that's at the good end,
Yeah.
because realistically stuff's gonna happen and bad things could happen on our end, basically.
It is possible. I still hold out hope that everything is going to go better than expected. I am prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. It is kind of nerve
Yes.
wracking. I'm not gonna deny that. I am absolutely nervous. But I am also very excited just because I'll be able to say that, hey, we've got a game on Steam, in the same way that I always say, hey, I had a game on the Xbox once. Hey, we've got games
Tech,
on the TurboGrafx.
technically you did have a game on the Xbox. I will vouch for that.
Two, if you count Insanity. That one wasn't my game, but I was very, very involved in the development. But I don't know. It adds more and more credibility to my statement that I am a game developer every time I can point at a released game in what people consider a legitimate platform and be like, yeah, I made that one.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate, I don't want to say goal because it's not really my goal, but the ultimate exemplar of that is a boxed product in a physical brick and mortar store. Do you see that physical thing that someone who is not me is charging money for? It is real. I made that game. We're moving away
Yeah.
from that as a whole model, but that's always been like the ultimate proof that you're real. You are a professional game developer. Here is a thing in a shop. It's got
Well,
my
I mean,
fingerprints all over it. Yeah.
that's why like devs would put their names in like Easter eggs. Like
Yeah.
if you jumped on 1 foot 7 times, then did a jumping 360, and then Rocket jumped off this one ledge and stuck right off the last pixel. There's one little clip of
Yeah.
art at the other bounding edge of that pillar, and it's got my name engraved in the in the texture of it.
Go get the dot.
Well, I mean, not in like literally the Halo ones. There's a bunch of Easter eggs in Halo that are like that, and
Yeah.
it's like your name's in the credits, but nobody's ever really going to see those credits, which is why a lot of games have like view credits from the main screen now and not
Yeah.
after, because it's like you're never going to see them.
Right.
People do not complete games anymore.
Well, people demand so much for that completion level, if that makes any sense. It's such a balance between people that are like, "Oh, I didn't get my money's worth out of this game," and then all the other people that are like, "I can't complete it now. It's too big."
That is a legitimately hard thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And completing a game versus beating a game is also a very different thing. Because, granted, it's been a while now, but beating a game is still a relatively fresh concept. Careful. No. Go away. I love you. Go away. Oh. We're joined by special guest Sarge. I surrender. I can only throw her so many times. Yeah, BioShock was another one where it felt like the right balance to get all the way through the game, to do all the things. But then there were more things you could do, but you'd still beaten the game, even if you hadn't 100% completed every last piece of it.
I think the advent of achievements, it's a double-edged sword, but I think it's been a good thing for games because it gave you a measuring stick that was not did you complete the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could going back to Halo, you beat the game. Now beat it on hard. Now beat it on legendary. You know, you want to beat it. You want your hard game. You can have your hard game. I can sit down and beat my head against it, and sit down with me and Jeff and Jay Z and I think it was still Matt at the time,
Yeah.
and we could 4-man legendary that warthog through probably 70 attempts to do that 3-minute course, and we had it down and we did it. And then there's regular Halo for you.
No, regular Halo's too hard for me. I need, like, baby's first Halo. Halo, a guided tour. The interactive Halo
5?
storybook.
Halo 4.
Yeah. Halo 2 Electric
I
Boogaloo.
I don't think I ever finished 4, and I never started 5.
That's the biggest reason, as popular as they are and as good as they're supposed to be, I never got into the FromSoft games, is the first thing everyone
Oh,
says is
God.
they're brutally hard. And I'm like, oh, not for me. I am not. For as much time as I spend working on them, I am not a gamer by any measure at all whatsoever. I play video games. I am not a gamer. Even play video games is negotiable. I play board games electronically. I do logic puzzles on the computer.
I have noticed my preference for games as I have aged has changed.
Yeah.
Part of it is changes in my hand dexterity, although, it's good. It's like I just don't want to be, as the kids say, that sweaty over games.
Yeah.
I do not want to have to practice to get frame perfect pixel precision games and jumps and backflips and things to play a game.
Yeah.
I do not. I appreciate watching those. I greatly enjoy that. And if I could do that, I would. But I have the option to not.
Right. I play games because I want to have fun.
Yeah.
It is less about the accomplishment and more about the enjoyment of the process. And we talked about this the other day, too. I want to play games that are fun to play, not play games so that I can say that I beat them. And the market has split there. There are now two markets. One market that makes games for people to beat, and one that makes experiences for people to enjoy.
Well, it's some people enjoy pain.
Yes.
And I'll leave the description at that. And you can tell secretly who some of those people are by the games they play.
Absolutely.
They enjoy the self-flagellation and the punishment of dying over and over to try to do something that they may very well be able to do. But then there's people that are just like, you are never going... No amount of... Some people do not physically have the ability, even with hours and hours of practice, to get good enough to do some of those things.
I'm never going to beat getting over it. I am acutely aware of that. I will never beat getting over it. And that's a product of a whole different genre, which is not games for people who want to beat things, but games for people who want to show other people them suffering it. The guy in the bucket with the hammer, getting over it with Bennett Foddy.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That is from that third category of games designed for people to stream to other people. Yes, it also scratches the itch for the masochist gamer, but that's really so that you can watch me suffer while I play it. because that's a whole third market.
Yeah.
And I've seen a
That's
lot of those
also,
recently.
it's not just to play for streamers, there are people that, I use this loosely, compete at that level.
Right.
They want that type of difficulty is what ticks their lizard brain and causes
There's
the dopamine to flow.
there are the Jamies out there routing a 10-hour all notes run of Harvest Moon Magical Melodies on the cube still. There are people who will
Right.
manufacture a challenge if one is not provided. Which, by the way, I think he did get the WR time for that because there were no other submissions in that category. And if I'm not mistaken, that means that Jamie is currently the world record holder in every category for Magical Melody. I watched the attempt that got to 9 hours and then the GameCube crashed. And then I watched his second attempt after he did a little rerouting and got his victory. Can you imagine playing a game for 9 hours straight and then it hangs at a cutscene? And your last save was 2 hours previous?
Why was his last save 2 hours previous?
Because he already had the note. He already had the note for enough saves, and he did not want to invest the extra time because he was on a sub 10 pace. Because he did not anticipate the game was going to crash. This is not like I died and screwed up. This is the game broke.
Yeah.
He was routed. He was past all the risk in the route.
That's kind of one of the problems I have with some part of the speedrunning community. Is it's like there's some achievements where it's like one tiny little, like, no save or something like that, and it's like one tiny mistake either by you or the game glitching, which especially in the other GameCube is just notoriously just bad, and hours of your life are just gone.
Yeah.
And what I never understand is, oh no, you took one slight misstep, now you're behind your time, and they just stop. Keep going and practice the rest of that so you don't replay the first 25% of the game 100,000 times and you never get there. Oh no, this one will be right. But now you have a chance to go through the last 20% that you've only gotten a chance to do 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 days ago. 9 hours, 30 minutes, 16 seconds. He is also number 1 in the Joe marriage category, in the Alex marriage category, in the Anne marriage category, Basil, Blue, Bob. He has every number 1 spot on Harvest Moon Magical Melody right now. Every number 1 spot. Glitched, glitchless, restricted. All of them. All of them.
Okay. I'm not putting down Jamie. Okay. Okay. I have personal qualms with you coming up with a very obscure set of requirements to do a thing and defining a new category and saying I have the number 1 world record in this because I am the only person who has done this.
I can understand what you're saying, but
Okay. It's the Paramore video all over again.
yeah.
Okay, they, Haley got world record for longest fastest time walking backwards holding more than 20 stuffed animals for 30 seconds. They how many bullshit legitimate world records did Paramore get in that video because they were the only person that happened to, you know, biggest sandwich cooked on the hood of a car.
I will say in
Yeah.
Jamie's defense that these are all existing categories. He was just the first person to submit all notes.
Okay, that's different. If it was a thing that existed and he could submit
Yes.
to it, somebody else had already defined it and put an entry on there and said nobody has submitted a video. That's fine.
Yeah.
But not just like, hey, I did this obscure dumb thing, put
Yeah.
my name on,
All-
define new category for me.
All the categories were already defined, and he's got competition in all of them except for all notes. He practiced the rest of the non 10-hour ones, and the community decided there are 100 X you can get in the game. There should be a category for getting all 100 X, especially since you get the last one by beating the game. It's 100% run, effectively.
I've kind of decided. A few weeks ago, I got that itch and I started playing Tears of the Kingdom again.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? I beat the game, but I never 100%ed it because it's, damn near FromSoft game at that level.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to go back and play it again because I enjoy the game, and it's been a year since it came out. And then Dawn Trail happened and blah blah blah. But I've decided I am going to make the effort slowly to actually try to 100% it all. I'm going to go region by region, spend a couple hours on stream every once in a while, go through and get all 1,000 Koroks, and I'll go through and get all the monster medallions that I didn't know about until like a week ago. The big bosses you fight that actually have a progress bar, big rock monster things.
Can we get some 07s in chat for Fuzzy? You're going to go through 100% tiers? Hats off. I salute you.
Well, I was playing the other day and Stev was in the channel.
Yeah.
Sure. We call his name is Steve. We call him Stev because he's short, so we decided he doesn't deserve his E. He's only 4 letters long. That's where that came from. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was saying like, "Oh, how many cores?" I'm like, not that many because I wasn't really focusing on it. It's like that night after I stopped streaming, like, let me bring up a map because I know there's a bunch like in this one area. I can just grab a bunch to get that Kickstarter to get me a few more weapon slots. And in the course of an hour, I just went down this one path of the map, just to this one, to this one, to this one, to this one, to this, and got like 150 of them just down this one little zigzag path down the plains. And I'm like, it would drive me nuts to do this for 12 hours. But like, if I, for an hour or so, every time I stream, I flip on the Switch and I play, an hour of Tears, and I just go, okay, it's desert day. We're getting the 70 some Koroks in the desert.
Yep.
And then stop playing. It's not that bad. And that 1,000 happens relatively quickly.
I was going to say 3-4 years, you'll be done.
No, I'd probably say I could do it in 1 12-hour stream tops. There's other 100% things that I want to do also that aren't 100%, but I want to do all of them.
Well, if you need help routing it, I know some Zelda speedrunners.
See, here's the thing: is there's maps now.
Yeah.
A year ago, they were still discovering all this. It was piecemealing things together. There's full interactive 3D experience maps that you can click on them and mark as done. I can go down. There's maps and routing and things and
there's
I
trackers.
couldn't find. Yeah. I asked ChatGPT about something. I'm like, hey, in Tears of the Kingdom, what the hell is this flower for? I can't find uses for it. It's like, oh, you find them over here, but you can use them this, make this type potion, or just put them together, do this. I'm like, I cannot find that information anywhere. I don't know where you got that from. I tried it. It worked. My TV's over here. That's why I keep gesturing for it. But like, oh, it worked. But I could not find any piece of information in a year this game has been out to explain what this flower does.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's resources now,
Better
which is part of the reason
than ever, yeah.
I like playing. It's part of the reasons I like playing not new games sometimes. Is I want that there is a hardcore dedicated fan base that has filled out a terabyte of data on a wiki. I want that gaming experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want you can't even Google for this game. It's barely in the news yet.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you. Oh, man. What's the next big game going to be? Are you excited about Echoes of Wisdom? Are we going to get Echoes of Wisdom?
I don't know if I'll pick it up new. I figure you might get it.
I
we
probably
might go
will.
in it together. I might find a used. I want to play it. I don't know if I want to buy it.
Understand.
In fact, I'm looking over it. I'm looking over at my brick of $1,000 worth of Switch games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of these I should sit down and like play through and then get rid of, or just outright sell, because I don't think I'm ever actually going to get around to playing it. I bought it because I like physical copies, especially of Nintendo games, because
yeah, obvious reasons.
But like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games right here I have never even put in my Switch yet.
They still have their fresh coating of dimethyltonium benzate or whatever it is. Yeah. The bittering agent they put on Switch cartridges to discourage you from eating them.
I love videos of people, like, I'm going to say this with love, but dumb YouTube streamers that, like, find out about that for the first time. Like, somebody told me that, like, they put this coating on that makes your kids don't eat them. I don't know if that's true. And they're just like, oh, like, yes, it's true. Why did you think?
They had to know.
They put that same coating on 2032 batteries now.
Yeah.
Because small cookie. And they had a problem. But the thing is they coated on the flat surface of the battery.
Which is
on
the
a 2032
terminal.
battery. Right. They had a problem with they were putting such a heavy coat on Duracell ones. You could not use them in AirTags.
Oh, man.
The contacts it was just such a thick coating on the one side, and it was a side that had like the texture on it, and it could not make good contact. And you're like, oh, don't buy Duracell batteries. They're like, no, just take a tiny drop of isopropyl alcohol and just go like this for a second, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And it'll work. Actually, I had to change the battery out in mine. It beeped at me and said, hey, the battery's getting low, and then it didn't.
Yeah. Did you check the batteries in your smoke alarm recently?
No. I know why?
Because you have all those air sensors.
No. They make... Listen to me, people. They make 10-year sealed battery smoke detectors. It's got a lithium cell battery in it that's good for 10 years. You never change the batteries in it. You know what happens after the 10 years? You throw it away. You know how often you're supposed to throw away and replace your actual smoke detector unit? About 10 years. When it starts beeping, you take it off and you throw it away because you're supposed to put a new one on the ceiling anyways.
I have learned something today. I did
know
not
how
realize
expensive
that
they
was
are?
an option. Same price as regular ones.
They're
I would
not-
assume.
Just a smidge more.
All the
Not very
cost right
much.
now is in the americium, the radioactive whatever it is. If you still have a traditional battery smoke alarm, make sure you change it. Replace it with one of these. Fuzzy's got the right idea, man. This is the way to go. I didn't even realize this was an option. So now that I know, I am hyped.
$30.
That is not bad at all.
No,
that is not bad
because it's $30 for one. It's a little bit cheaper if you buy two. They're probably marked up on Amazon. I got them at actual Home Depot, and I think I bought a 2-pack for $50.
Yeah.
And it's kiddie brand. It's they don't fuck around.
They're good quality stuff.
But like regular, do they even make just regular smoke detectors? 10-year, 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 10-year. No, I don't think they do. I think it's such a meme of battery operated. Like there's, if you can make a smoke detector for $30, why don't you have a 10-year one?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, time for an upgrade here for sure. I am into that idea.
Smoke detector. How much is a AA battery powered? AA battery powered. $26.
Yeah, for that difference, you'll spend that more than that much in batteries replacing them if you remember
In
to
batteries
replace them
twice a year. Yeah.
What else do I need to update at the house? You're on top of things like this. You're good at knowing when technology happens that is not technology on my desk.
A number of years ago, I won't say how many, when I moved in with my partner at the time, and she, when we moved in together before we got married, and then also shortly, when we did get later on, actually got married and moved into an actual house, not just a rental. I'm just like buying all this home tech that I knew existed, but it wasn't worth doing until you have a home.
Yeah.
And she's like, why did I not know? Like, just like you with the smoke detector. It's like, how do you know about these things? It's like, because I look at stores and I read not even blogs, just I read news articles, or I'm just aware of stuff. I mean, make sure all your lights are LED lights.
Yeah.
Even go through and like go through and kick out even any remaining CFLs. Just go ahead and replace them now, because do it while they still work, so they don't burn out and they didn't like pop and stuff, and then you got to clean up mercury and glass. So like, go replace them with LEDs now. Also, if you were up on the LED train when they first came out, go replace your bulbs. They've gotten better. They're more efficient, they're brighter, and your LEDs do dim over their lifetime. And if you had LED lights 10 years ago, they're probably getting ready to be replaced. You do have to replace them eventually.
Yeah.
It's the orders of like tens of thousands of hours versus like a few hundred hours. But like, you can get high wattage. These two lights over here, the ones I have in the IKEA bulbs.
Yeah.
You're going to go on a trip real quickly here.
Yay.
Those that are my facing backlights, because I used to work over here and face this screen, so I needed fill lights. Those are 1600 lumen bulbs. They're equivalent to like 120, 140 watt light bulbs. You know how much each one of those uses in actual like normal wattage?
Maybe a watt?
15.
Ooh.
You know how much power that is for an LED?
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. They're on 10% power right now.
Yeah, that's yikes. Yikes.
I replaced the lights in our chandelier in our kitchen with, I got smart bulbs, LEDs, but color changing, but they do white balance ones. That's the other thing. Even if you don't want RGB, get the white color ones that you can change whether they're warm or cool. You want like the warm yellow, like right now, or or if you want actual bright like white light, or you prefer the more relaxed yellow light, because they do have a difference. I had them default to 1%.
Enough light
nobody
to function
realized.
by.
Well, it's 3 of them high up, so that it fills the whole room with a very more than usable. Like, oh, can you make it a little bit brighter? I'm like, sure. Set it to 5%, and it went like, wait, that's 5%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, set it to 100. They're like, oh my god. I'm like, well, that's 400,000 lumens of light right there. They're like, yeah.
Yes.
So
I keep it low because it doesn't use as much power to do that, and it's usable. But if I ever need that much light, I have it available.
go replace all your lights. Period. They're cheap enough. If they're old LEDs, get new ones. They're probably even more efficient or just brighter. If you got any incandescent bulbs, just fucking get rid of them.
Yeah.
You're hurting yourself. Literally, the only place that you should still have an incandescent bulb is in your oven, because you can't really easily replace
Yeah.
that type of thing. You can, but you can't really. Um, Appliance bulbs. If you got lights in your fridge and they're not LEDs, you can get LED. Just they plug in the A12 plug-in things, and it will change your life. And you don't realize how much power that is sucking down. Anything with a light, go replace that. Um,
Smoke detectors we covered.
Smoke detectors, air filters. Although you should be changing those more than twice a year, to be honest.
Make sure you get an air filter. Make sure you get air filters, plural, that fit your needs. We have a lot of animals, but we don't have a lot of allergies. I'm less worried about the HEPA filtration, although I am aware that that is important for many people. But I got activated charcoal filters and keep the fans circulating air through the house, through the ventilation system, to cut down on pet odors. And it has made a noticeable difference when I replaced it with an activated charcoal-based filter.
If you're buying air filters for the first time, buy twice as many. Or put one in your not your stove, your
furnace blower thing. Yeah.
Put one in and have your spare right there, just like your car. Have your spare tire.
Yeah.
Then when you check it in 4 months and it needs to be replaced, oh look, you don't have to remember, oh, I have to replace it, but I have to go to the store and look. No, your spare is right here. You put it in, and then you put it on your list. Hey, next time you're near the store, go get another one.
Yeah.
And replace your spare. Always have fridge filters too.
Yeah.
Always have one. So like when it says, hey, replace me finally, not just like, oh yeah, oh, it says replace me, cool, done.
Order another one, replaced. Slowest shipping. I will get another one eventually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's worth you're going to spend that money anyways. It's a smidge more, you're just front loading that cost once to have your spare there and ready to go. Anything that you regularly replace in your house 2, 3, 4 times a year like that, have your replacement already ordered and in the house. Do not, I have to go order one, or I have to stop at the store and get one. Have it there. You will not procrastinate changing it.
You know, I don't need to advertise a certain large online retailer named after a certain river, but they have a subscription service for things like this too.
Yep.
You can set it up so that every 3 months you get a furnace filter, and when it comes in the mail, swap it immediately. Trash the old one.
Yeah.
The next time it shows up, that means it's time to change it again.
Well, that's what I say about the water filter is I had it set to about 6 months. And like, we didn't know how many people in the house and how much water. And so like, we didn't know how fast it was going to go. Yeah. So I had the spare ready to go. But over 2 years, like, okay, I know what I used to, replace it every 6 months. It's 5 months. So I changed it, like I jumped it. And when it's coming, you could say, no, skip. Like it's still on warning. It still says, order it, but doesn't say replace it. Like if your fridge tells you, trust it. It knows how many hours that filter's rated for. If it is just, hey, it kind of tastes funny, have that spare there, or have it unsubscribe. Yeah. The reason I say is have that spare there. The money's already spent.
You will replace it
And
the
you
minute you feel it needs replaced. If you don't have one,
also
you put it on your list, and eventually you may remember to.
you may sometimes subscribe and save, like the price skyrockets and you don't realize, like,
Oh,
I know when it
yeah.
comes every 6 months, but it's like, oh, they got out of stock and only the scalpers were selling like the 3 remaining for $90, and it's normally only like a $50 filter, and it auto paid $90, and you're like, fuck. You can control when you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for something variable like a water filter, my living situation changed. I had a lot less people using the water. My water filter lasted 18 months. It just now said, hey, it says replace it. I have a video to send you later.
The one thing I would not recommend putting on subscribe and save, for what it's worth, is Java Monster, because they will discontinue the flavor that you order. Because they've done it to
No,
me twice.
that's they did it to me with the regular monster. That's where I was getting the black cherry.
Yeah.
No, the black before even the gold, and then they discontinued the gold. So yeah, they did it to me twice. But that's monster being monster and.
Yeah, well. They also discontinued many flavors that I enjoyed that I did not have on subscribe and save. But they keep making the flavors I'm not too fond of. But that's
Part
just
of that,
because I'm
though,
picky.
is them trying to cut costs on keeping the cans in stock for having so many internal SKUs of how many cans they have to order and keep at the fillers and stuff like that versus just cutting SKUs basically, and not to have out there, but it's for ordering.
I would I understand that very much, and I especially understand that in the context of a wide variety of flavors. But they had
Yeah,
one low sugar option and they got rid of it.
yeah, people were not happy about that.
People still are not happy. I am not happy about that. That
Yeah.
is the one I liked the best. Honestly, it took a little bit to get used to it, but I like it even better than the Kona blend that I used to scream and jump up and down about. And now they have the cafe latte, which is kind of like the Kona blend, I guess, but it's not low sugar and it's not quite as good as the Kona blend was. But it's the one I drink, so I'm waiting for them to discontinue that because I just started my subscription back up of that.
Cabin air filter in your car.
Yes.
They're like
Yes.
$20. You can literally go on Amazon. They have a little My Garage, and you tell them what your car is, and this way, when you go to the filter, they have a database of this filter 37J-B goes in the car that's in my garage. It says, hey, this fits in your car. The thing you're looking at doesn't go with any of the cars you've told us about.
It's like the
You're on
little
your
whatsits
own.
they used to have to look up your windshield wipers at the car parts store. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
digital, because it's the future that we live in. And I am so happy about that.
Cabin air filters are stupidly cheap. I got a Bosch one. Like literally, like I'm like, hey, I turned on the air conditioner in my car the other day. Like, it smells kind of funny. I'm like, when's the last time that filter's been changed? You could do it yourself.
Yeah.
You can literally Google, hey, how do I change it? They're like, got a screwdriver? Take these screws out. Take this, like, you pull it out. It's like change it. It's just like changing the furnace filter. It's meant to be a user serviceable part.
Yeah.
Don't pay a mechanic to do it. It is a screwdriver away from doing it yourself.
Not even as complicated as changing oil. It absolutely is. You, the driver, can do that painlessly. 100%.
Newer cars, it's easier to get to. My 2014, I had to take 4 bolts out and drop the entire glove box unit like out from the dash to get behind. I'm like, oh, okay. There's nowhere else they could put this.
Yeah.
But it took me 45 minutes, and 20 of that was just trying to figure out which screws to do and trying to do it with a mirror, and like, oh, and it took me 5 minutes to put it back together because I knew where.
18 minutes. The new rally call, yeah.
Yeah, anything consumable in your house, there's better versions of it now.
Yeah.
Period. There's either newer or cheaper versions.
Don't forget to change your blinker fluid. Make sure your
Somebody actually
710
made a
is
car
screwed
that
on.
actually had blinker fluid.
That's terrible. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. What other maintenance am I forgetting that I shouldn't be? When's the last time you oiled the hinges on all your doors? When's the last time
What
you
now?
cleaned your dishwasher? Have you done that? There
Uh,
is cleaning and
a month ago?
maintenance for dishwashers.
Afresh.
Yeah. With the wax cap in the top, you just stick it upside down in the thing.
No, you just throw this pack in the thing and run it empty.
I like the little bottles that have the wax cap you turn upside down in the silverware holder. But you can pick up cleaner for your dishwasher. Take a paper towel, scrape out any gunk that's sitting at the bottom, because gunk will accumulate at the bottom. Make sure nothing's clogging up any filter type areas. Get your Afresh tablets or get your bottle of cleaner and run a hot cycle with just that.
Laundry, clothing washing machine, not dishwashing machine. Same thing. Take one of those tablets, you drop it in, you hit hot, and you let it run, and it basically just cleans it dissolves and runs a load of water and then cleans out your pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. You sacrifice one load of water, which isn't really that much, and it cleans it all out.
Empty the crumb tray on your toaster.
I did that. I cleaned out the bottom of our air fryer convection oven thing, which is technically an air fryer, but it's not. It's like the toaster oven type air fryer,
Yeah.
which is not very good at being a toaster oven either. It's
It's the worst of both
40
worlds.
It's the worst of three different things. I miss my old toaster oven, and we apparently didn't throw it away. We replaced it. We put it in the garage in case we needed it, and then they took it for extracurricular activities to make s'mores of certain
Yeah.
varieties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's still here. I'm like, and I opened it. I'm like, nope, that is going right in the. Why did they keep this?
Yeah. Nah. It's like, man, get a separate one for that. I have a toaster oven for crafts that I do not use for food.
Well, it was in the garage. We kept it as a backup because I didn't. It was perfectly good. They were free to go and ruin it.
Yeah. I share your frustration is where I'm trying to go with this.
Clean your fan blades off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're dirty.
They are.
I don't care when you clean them last. They're dirty. Go get one of those bendable cattail things. If you're short and you just get them. You don't have to scrub them. You don't have to be a clean room. Just take most of the dirt off.
Yeah.
That's it. Go to any hardware store. It's like a pipe cleaner, but it's like 3 feet long with a big beefy handle. Imagine a pipe cleaner like this big, seriously. And you just bend it into a shape, a vaguely flat 7 looking shape, and you just go, and you're like, ew. Go clean all your fans.
Throw a new bleach thing in the back tank of your turlet. Or if you're like me, get one of those like shower tablets, the mentholyptus ones that Vicks makes, and throw one of those in the back tank of your turlet along with the bleach. That way it'll smell like Vicks in your bathroom.
You have to check. Not all toilets you're supposed to use those in because the parts in there maybe not have been designed to sit in bleach water.
Fair.
And it will make the rubber seals decay faster. If you're okay with replacing the weird rubber seal flange things, which is not that hard, you got to disassemble the entire toilet to do it. But if you throw one of those blue tablets in there.
Okay, what about the clippy ones that go in the bowl then? They work the same-ish way, and that way you don't have to have the bleach in the holding tank with the rubberized parts.
No, you want to know how to clean your toilet the easy way? Go get a spray bottle of Clorox kitchen cleaner stuff. Just cleaner and bleach spray. Get one that says kitchen because it's meant to be on like tiles and shit,
Yeah.
keep it in the bathroom. Keep it near the toilet. It is the bathroom one, so it's always there. Every once in a while, we're like, hey, the bottom of the toilet bowl is looking a little grungy. Before you go to bed at night, spray the crap out of it. And all that bleach will sit and soak in that water and bleach the bowl clean and dissolve all the stuff. And in the morning, flush it out before you do anything, and it'll take it all with it.
All right.
Just
Okay.
bleach shock your toilet water, basically. You
Here's
don't
one
need
for
it in
you.
the tank all the time. It's when it's starting to get a little scummy down in there. You don't want to like scrub it. Just bleach shock it and let it go out. You don't need to store the bleach in the tank.
Here's one for you. Descale your shower head.
Yeah.
You can even use vinegar to do it. Just like a cup of it, soak the shower head in it a little bit, and then it'll rinse itself off with the water.
Go get a baggie and some CLR.
Yeah.
Just like the memes.
It'll make a
works.
difference in your water pressure. It will. You may not realize it, but it really will.
Our water out here changed, and we started getting water spots on stuff. Like we noticed it like on the dishwasher and stuff, but also like a few things we'd wash. I'm like, this like did our water change out here? And I did some digging, and it did. They had changed our municipality supply from south of us to the city north of us. And they get theirs from the lake source, and the water changed about 5 years ago. It's like, oh, that's why we have water spots on everything. And like, how do you do it? It's like, wash it more, wash it. I figured out. I just had to stop using the heated dry function on the dishwasher, and it was fine.
Yeah.
It's because it was evaporating and leaving it on there. If I leave it on there and just remember to open it and let them like actually air dry it, they're fine.
It'll drip off then as opposed to melt off. Water doesn't melt, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's just calcium.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, so are bones, but.
Well, yeah, but. Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm all inspired to take care of the house. I'm like, get up and do stuff and clean. When's the last time you replaced your broom head or cleaned it at least?
Never, because I don't use a broom.
Fair.
Actually, no. I have a broom right there because I just cleaned under my desk over here, cleaning stuff out, and because all this has got to get out of here because I got renovations to do back there. I got to fix the sump pump and stuff this soon here, and which is why half this room is still tore up in a mess and stuff, and yeah.
At least you have an excuse, man. At least you've got an excuse.
What do you mean?
Look at back here, and the whole reason this looks like this is because, you
need wall hooks for your guitars.
I
you have enough of them in a big flat empty things. You need to put the guitars flat on the wall again.
Yeah. I need many things, and that is pretty high up on the list.
You have a lot of space in that room on the walls you are not taking advantage of with shelving and hooking and stuff. You need 8-inch 4-foot boards, 8 inches deep, shelf runners on the top to put your small knickknacks and other stuff up out of the way.
Yeah.
That frees up a lot of space on curio cabinet type shelves. You have a bunch of flat areas to hang paintings and things, but also guitars. Just fill that wall with guitars.
I could also part with some of these guitars. That is also an option.
Like, how many of those electrics have you played ever? Sell that goddamn 12-string.
15 string.
The abomination, the N64 controller of guitars back there.
The problem I have is one of I hate all the marketplaces that I could sell it on. I want to just have a yard sale. That would be the least painful way.
take it up to Guitar Center and be like, I need to sell this. Can you recommend where I should sell this to get the best money out of it?
You know what
Like, I
they'll
don't want
say?
to sell it to you. What?
I could do that, but I would imagine that they wouldn't be like, I don't think they're permitted to recommend another place to sell it. They're allowed to make an offer, but I don't think they're allowed to recommend somewhere else to sell it.
I think for something like that they probably wouldn't buy to not.
It's probably worth asking at least. Yeah, 15 string basses are not exactly a high demand item.
But I was cleaning under there, and I found, and I just knocked them all onto the ground, a thing that I bought last year and completely forgot about.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. Oh, man.
I bought the Spelljammer box set.
He's got all the magical space pirate books.
Yeah. And I totally forgot about it.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And they're all about to become collector's items as the new ones come out, and all the old ones are in very much demand because the new system is bullshit. It's like legitimate bad.
Yeah. I have heard rumblings about that.
You know, we have 4 employees here.
We do.
That's 3 plus 1. That's a nice little optimal number.
We can't even hold a recurring regular sync to talk about the business stuff. But I get what you're saying. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Jason, we could write our own tools.
That is
true. We don't have to
true.
go on Roll20. I think between the 4 of us who write web code, we could come up with a rudimentary stat tracker, and we have technology for drawing images in a canvas layer. We could make a map engine.
So what I'm hearing is you want to be the next Roll20, but good this time.
No, I want to make it for us.
Fair.
Asynchronous DM. AI generated, we all play 4 separate parallel campaign adventures in the same world. The DM is AI.
Which I've written most of already.
And we could team up if any 2 of us have time together to go on, like, hey, I need help killing this dragon. You want to come with me at the local inn? And you're like, sure. And we could pair up in 2s or 3s or 4s to do things together. Couch co-op style.
Yeah. Put it on the list.
If the DM is AI, we could all play whenever our schedule's allowed.
Yeah.
Even if you only had 15 minutes to make a couple moves, the DM is not going to care and say, I have to go take care of my kid. I'll see you in 6 hours. It'll wait.
That is true. That is very true. That is something I hadn't really thought about before, but factors in a lot with the AI DM kind of thing.
You got a half-hour lunch break. Instead of scrolling through TikTok, go do some character work. Do some NPC poking around town. Go do your shopping episode and haggling with your AI DM and do your restocking. Work on your crafts or your not hornswoggling. What's the cajoling?
Yeah.
I did stuff while we were on break. My character did character things. Do that once a week on your lunch break.
I like
Progress your character. Yeah.
I like it.
That's the kind of game I want to play. And then once a quarter you get everybody together to go do a 4-party dungeon.
I'm going to have to take some notes on this. I have ideas now. Well, you had ideas. I'm going to take your ideas and make a thing.
I come up with we were talking about business and execution and it takes two people. I can come up with the ideas or I can execute them. But I can't execute my own ideas.
I get that. Oh, I get that. I do. I do. All right, we're about at time.
All right.
I'm going to go eat my pork
yeah.
chop sandwich. Thank you guys for
Pork
hanging
chop
out with
sandwiches.
us so very much. It has been a pleasure, as it always is. We will see you next week, same time, same channel, for the Let's Cafe launch party. Make sure you are here next Wednesday. And I will most likely catch you guys Friday doing some music stuff. So until then, be safe, be well. Much love to you.
It may not be on this channel.
Oh, yeah, it may not be on this channel. Make sure you're in the Discord. That's the best way to find out. So I will drop the link in there one more time. Go hang out with us there, and we will catch you later on.